Hello everyone! Let's talk about triangle congruencies and some triangle properties. First, let's review some properties of triangles. Now this might sound a little silly going over, but let's go over it anyways. Triangles have 6 parts. They have 3 sides. We denote sides by using these little lines called tick marks. We can use different amounts to represent different sides. We can do the same thing for the 3 angles. I use little semicircles to mark angles, and we can give them different amounts to represent specific angles. A last piece of important information is that all triangles, no matter what, in Euclidean geometry, have a total of 180 degrees when you add their angles. Okay. Now, when we compare triangles, we look for 3 different types of congruencies. Let's explore them. In order to have congruent triangles, just to even start looking at them, we need to have 3 parts that are going to be congruent. So just glancing at these 2 triangles, I see they have 2 sides which are marked, one with 1 tick mark, the other with 2, and they both have angles marked. Now, if these triangles are marked in the same order, and you'll see what I mean momentarily, then these triangles are congruent. Let's take a peek at this order. Okay, I'm going to start with 1 tick mark. The first tick mark gives us an S for side. I know, very creative. Next, we have A for angle and S for side for 2 tick marks. I'm going to do the same thing on this triangle. I'm going to start off with S for 1 tick mark, then I'm following the pattern to A to the marked angle, and S for our side. They have the same 3 signs in the same order. Side, angle, side. Side, angle, side. That's one of the ways we tell triangles are congruent, as if they have a side, angle, and side that are the same and in the same order. Let's take a look at this pair. Okay, I see 3 marked areas on each of them, so they're good to go. I'm going to move this down just a bit. Okay. They each have a side 1 tick mark, side 2 tick marks, side 3 tick marks. Side, side, side. So their congruency is called side, side, side. If all 3 sides are congruent in both triangles, then the 2 triangles are congruent. And let's look at the last one. Okay, well this one's kind of strange because I actually see only 1 side marked on each, along with 1 angle. Well, what else do they have in common? Now, if you recall from previous sections, we have vertical angles right here. And vertical angles are congruent. Okay, so now we have 3 things, 3 parts to work with. Let's label. We have angle, we have a side and an angle. Angle, side, angle. Our third way of seeing congruency is through angle, side, angle. All right. Side, angle, side, 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 angle, side, angle, and let's erase these random red marks. Okay, let's look at some triangles and make them congruent through one of the 3 ways. All right, let's start here. So let's just practice marking up these triangles. I want them to be congruent by side, side, side. Okay, so I am going to follow alphabetical order. AB gets 1 tick, XY gets 1 tick. BC gets 2 ticks, YZ gets 2 ticks. Well, and then the leftover side gets 3. Perfect. There's not really many ways of doing that. You can just change up the order on the tick marks, but that's about it. Let's move on to these 2 triangles. Sass. Okay, let's make them sassy. What do I feel like starting? Let's start with this side, AB. So then we give XY. And I can choose either to go and put an angle over here at B or over here at A. Well, I feel like going at A. That means I should put it at X. We have a side and angle, and lastly, I want a third part, so we have our side. So there's many ways of doing this one actually, because we could have started off here and used angle C. We could have started here and used angle A, started here and used B, started here and used B. You get the picture. I hope. Lastly, let's do angle side angle. There's several ways of doing this as well. They're not all as one-dimensional as side, side, side. Well, I feel like starting at A again for my angle, so X gets 1. And then I want to give AB another tick mark, so XY, which means I need to give angle B and angle Y the same values. Alright, so we have angle, side, angle, angle, side, angle. Same order and consecutive. Alright, lastly, let's take a look a little bit of more properties about triangles. So, I forgot to mark this beautiful triangle with ticks. Okay, now it's even more beautiful. Okay, take a look at this triangle I have drawn for you. What I'd like to do is find all of the degree values. I have two sides marked with 1 tick mark. That means those two sides have the same value. When two sides of a triangle have the same value, it's called an isosceles triangle. Isosceles triangles also have a beautiful property which gives us this. Two angles are congruent. So let's find X, Y, and Z. All right. Let's begin with X because it's next to our only number that's written down. Now, X and 107 are a linear pair. They create a line. A line has 180 degrees. So in order to find X, we do 180 minus 107. So we get 73. Well, X and Z have the same value. So Z is also 73. Okay, we're almost done. A triangle has a total of 180 degrees inside of it. So, let's find out y, or the letter y, the degrees of letter y, of variable y. I'm done. By doing 73 plus 73 to find out how much that is. So that's 146. And subtracting that from 180. Y is 34 degrees. Not bad. Alright. Here is a final little property of specifically, I forgot to draw this into, right triangles. Okay. So here we have a right triangle. We have the value of two sides. We could find the third, but we don't really need to. What I'd like to know is the value of AB and BE. Okay, let's take a look at the picture. When I see the line AC that's marked to be 8 inches, I know that the total value is 8. And when I look at the actual picture and I see these two tick marks, they're the same value. Well, if I take 8 and I divide it into 2, I get 4. So the value of AB is 4 inches. So it gets tricky for BE. There's no tick marks. However, there are signs for parallel. when these two lines are parallel, then what we could do is we could take 15, that value of CD, divide that in half to find the value of BE. Okay, not too bad. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to ask myself or your teachers or your parents for help with triangle congruency and some of their properties.